Hello and welcome to the 7th episode of By the Fire with the Shamana, a short transmission bringing shamanic wisdom into your life, one conversation by the fire at a time. It is intended as a form of medicine to heal, open perspectives, raise consciousness, and help you regain more freedom and power over your life. If you are curious to discover how to transform anger from something reactive and destructive into something that helps you better understand yourself and protect what truly matters to you, today's episode is for you. Inside this episode, we explore this together and why it might quietly change the way you move through your life. If this episode resonates with you today and you feel called to support my work, I would be truly grateful if you choose to share it as you feel appropriate. Because every time this sacred space is shared, its energy continues to expand and reach the people who may need it most. Before we begin, I want to invite you to pause for a moment. You are obviously coming from other activities, other thoughts, and right now we are opening a sacred space together for this transmission. So I invite you to take a few deep breaths with me. You inspire through the nose and expire through the mouth. Again. You just feel the air you breathe circulating through your whole body, through each of your cells. Allow your whole body to relax, become more present, more receptive, and ready to activate your listening and learning abilities. As you arrive more fully into this space, ask yourself, what is your state in this moment? How do you feel? Whether you feel good or bad, it doesn't matter. Everything is okay. It's just, just be aware of how you feel. And maybe if there's a comment section on the app where you're listening to this episode, I invite you to write down there how you feel so we can include it together in this sacred space. Now, when you feel ready, enter. We have all experienced situations where someone said something and within a few seconds, you felt anger taking over your whole body before you even had time to think. It can be triggered by a comment, a tone of voice, a feeling of being dismissed, disrespected, or simply someone pushing you too far, someone pushing your buttons, right? Your whole nervous system reacts almost instantly. Your body tightens, your voice changes, your emotions rise, and before you even fully understand what is happening inside you, the reaction is already moving through your words, through your tone, through your body, through your behavior. But afterwards, once the storm has passed, in many cases, you find yourself regretting what happened. You may feel like the conversation escalated unnecessarily, or you said things you did not actually want to say. Maybe you even damaged the relationship. Or you simply felt exhausted by the intensity of your own reaction and wondered, what was this about? It happened to me just a few days ago. My mother said something that triggered me, not even directly to me, but still I had an emotional reaction. The emotion I felt was legitimate, but the way I expressed it was definitely not. I regretted it. And I went through the whole cycle, the guilt. So one question is this: what do those situations have in common? And the answer is actually quite simple, in fact. Some kind of boundary was crossed. Anger is about boundaries being crossed. Once you are able to understand that this is the actual message from anger, the next question is, whose boundary was being crossed? The one of the 8-year-old inner child living within you? Or the one of the adult woman you are now? If you feel it is the inner child in you that reacted with anger, ask yourself, from which childhood wound did you react? What was anger protecting you from at the time as a child? How has the situation changed now as a grown woman? Could you heal that inner child and bring her back to adulthood and the present situation? Now, if you feel it is the ground woman in you that reacted with anger, ask yourself, what boundary were you trying to protect or express? How could you still express it, command respect, and stay the leader in your own body? Today, I want to offer you an additional view on this emotion, the shamanic view. In shamanic wisdom, emotions are not approached as something good or bad. They are movements of energy carrying information about what is happening inside your inner world, your needs, your boundaries, and the way your body is experiencing a situation. And anger is deeply connected to the energy of fire. Not necessarily destructive fire, but more interestingly, protective fire. The kind of fire that appears when something inside you needs protection, truth, space, or repositioning. So the question then becomes, what do I do with this fire? And it is not about suppressing anger. It is about transformation. It is about moving from I feel anger, I react, to I feel anger, I pause, I acknowledge that I feel anger. I allow myself to be curious about this anger, Does it come from this old wound? Is it justified? Is it the adult in me trying to express a limit, Then listening to the answer, and only then do I decide how I react. The moment you place consciousness between what triggers you and your reaction is the exact moment when something starts changing. This is the moment when you regain your power of choice instead of automatically giving your power away to whatever automatic reaction has been living inside of you for months, years, or sometimes decades. And this changes your relationship with anger completely. Anger is now information. And now you get to decide what to do with it. As in every episode, I would now like us to experience this teaching together. And before we begin this exercise, just a quick reminder to use your judgment and stay safe if you are driving or doing any activity that requires your full attention. For this exercise, I invite you to sit down comfortably in an imaginary theater with a big screen, okay? You take one slow breath in through the nose, exhale gently through the mouth. Take the time to settle into your chair, and when you are ready, you will begin projecting onto that screen images from a moment where you felt anger very strongly inside your body. Not just irritation, but, a real emotional reaction. Don't force anything. Simply allow the situation to come back naturally into your awareness. It can be a recent moment, an old moment, does not matter. Now, what was the context at the time? Where were you? Who was there with you? How did the conversation start? Just observe it gently from a place of awareness. Do not judge the situation. Be present with it. That's it. Just be honest and present. Now, instead of focusing immediately on what you said and how you reacted, I want you to slow the memory down for a moment, almost like watching the scene in slow motion. What exactly happened just before your anger appeared? What triggered it? What was said or done? Just the moment before, the second before. What did you feel inside your body the exact moment the reaction began rising? Okay, you can take another deep breath. And now ask yourself gently, what boundary felt crossed for me in this moment? Now I want you to go one step deeper. As you reconnect with this moment, ask yourself honestly, was this the adult in me reacting? Or was this an older wound inside me reacting through the situation? Just observe whatever comes naturally because you know it. Your body knows it. If emotions arise, allow them. Emotions are always welcome. If you can name the wound, do so. You can talk to it. You can let it know that it has been seen. Let it know that it has been heard. If it is trying to express itself through anger, it means it needs that. It needs to be seen. It needs to be heard. Acknowledge its presence, its existence. You can now gently let go of this memory and come back to the here and now. Bringing consciousness to our shadow areas is what allows us to grow. This is where you begin reclaiming your power of choice, not by suppressing the emotion, but by allowing consciousness to enter the space between the emotion and the reaction. If you need a few extra moments with this reflection before continuing the episode, simply allow yourself to take them now. Put the episode on pause and come back when you're ready. Now, before we close this sacred space together, as every week, I would like to leave you with an integration practice for the week to come. If you experience anger this week, instead of reacting immediately or suppressing the emotion or feeling guilt, I simply want to invite you to pause for a moment. Just take a breath, just one conscious breath before reacting. And during that pause, ask yourself, what boundary feels crossed for me right now? The goal this week is observing consciously your moments of anger, not judging them, not suppressing them, simply observing them honestly with more awareness than before. Your relationship with anger will transform for sure, because as you observe, you now understand that anger is only information asking to be seen. What this episode invites you to remember is that anger is not an enemy. Anger is information. Anger is a messenger. It is your inner world trying to tell you that something matters, something felt crossed, something inside you needs attention, protection, truth, or healing. And maybe this is one of the deepest form of self-leadership. Learning how to pause long enough to choose your response instead of unconsciously repeating the same emotional patterns again and again. So before we close this sacred space together, I invite you to take one final deep breath. And you simply notice how you feel compared to the beginning of this episode. You can share it in the comments. You can also take a mental note about what you want to take with you from this moment by the fire today. We can now close this sacred transmission space together. The journey continues within you. Walk gently, walk consciously, and remember, you are never walking alone. If the energy of this transmission resonated with you today, you can continue the journey with me on Substack. That is where I share Whispers from the Shamana, a weekly publication to nourish your deeper self and softly awaken the shaman within. The address is thedigitalshamana with an A at the end, .substack.com. Thank you truly for your presence here today, for taking this moment for yourself and for stepping into this space. And I will see you by the fire again very soon.